just kind of a real quick overview of how do you spend $1 million of tax dollars trying to get something that is beneficial for the ecology, beneficial for recreation, beneficial for turtles and frogs and fish and ducks, beneficial for the wetlands, and creates no harm. This is for all user groups. So the economic impact report for the last year, it's been sitting at DNR with no phone calls, no action. No one else has submitted any economic impact reports. I will credit the DNR, though. Almost 8 months ago, the Deputy Secretary and Mr. Rasmussen agreed to come to UW-Whitewater and spent 3.5 hours with the Economics Department to try to understand the methodology of the report. I give them great credit. It's one of the few times in the last 13 years that we're able to visit with DNR staff one-on-one and explain to them and let the professionals explain, how do you conduct an economic impact report on what does low water mean on a recreational body of water. So we're here to get relief. We're here to put something behind that Supreme Court language that says the DNR must consider economic impact.
Okay, who in the DNR are you dealing with?
Well, for 13 years, we've had a revolving door of secretaries, and then last year we've had 3 deputy secretaries that we've worked with. But primarily, most recently, it's been Mr. Russ Rasmussen and Pam Giersack.
And Chairman, there's a long history here, but the provisions in this legislation is really prospective. It's just setting up a process that allows us information to get before DNR and to put on some time frame to respond.
These 21 provisions in this, you guys have been here all day.
Right. Yes. So
any one of these provisions would take a lot of time to get just right. So
yes, and so it's
I don't know what I'm going to do. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to talk to Mr. Rasmussen. I know him. He's on special projects over there now. See why they're not giving you the water. I represent this area, but I'll call on your behalf to see what the reason is. We've got your contact information. Okay. Questions from committee members? Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I figured my comments on Lake Tashanan decision would get attention if there was anybody here that was concerned about that one, and here you are. And I did not question the process part of it. I questioned the language that says that the department needs to, in making its determination, has to give substantial weight to the Lake District's economic report on property values. And substantial, and let me just read the language. All public comments received, let me back up. The Secretary of Natural Resources shall consider the district's petition, the department's preliminary determination, and all public comments received, and shall give substantial weight to any findings by the district relating to the water level the district has determined to be necessary to protect property values and economic values within the district's jurisdiction. And it was had heartburn over the use of the word substantial, which seems to imply, and I don't see how you can give any other interpretation, that the substantial means more than all the other considerations. So that was the issue that I was raising. It seems to me it is putting your finger on the weight, and I would be surprised if you actually had requested the inclusion of that term.
It was not the intent that it be a deference be given to them on the overall, on all the values of all the things that they're supposed to consider, which includes protection of life, health, interest of the public rights and navigable waters. It was only intended that with respect to our property, when we make findings on the economic value to our property, that is what gets the weight. And so the underlying standard as to what's to be considered does not change. And the weight of each of those factors would not change the way I read this statute. And certainly what we were hoping to get. It was with respect to one of those factors, our property values, and the economic impact to our businesses in the Lake District's jurisdiction, within our districts, that you give deference to our views on how it affects us, and just that one factor. So I understand that that's not an unreasonable interpretation you may have. I don't read it that way, and it was never but anybody's intent to be interpreted that way, that it is not going to increase the weight of economic impacts in DNR's overall decision. They will consider all the factors they always had, including economic, the same as they have before. I don't know if that answers your question. I'm sure you still have that same concern, but that was not the intent of this provision, and I don't read it that way. We just need to get deference with respect to all the work we've done with respect to our property owners and our businesses. That's all.
Well, I think it'd be hard not to have that interpretation, and what is the parameters of substantial is pretty nebulous, but I think I just wanted to clarify my objection to that particular provision.
And there's no magic to substantial weight. Local units of governments are generally given deferences in areas of their expertise, and that's all that this was intended to do, is in areas of our expertise, our property owners and our business. It would be fair to give a certain level of deference, particularly when you consider the department has zero expertise in this area.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. Mike Hahn, Lake Koshkonong Wetlands